Happy Monday. Hey, this is the first in a one-week series to show you a little behind the scenes about what the staff has been up to during the lockdown. Ministry during shelter at home is definitely a little different. I actually come into the building. As you can see, it is a little bit more quiet and empty than usual. I do have a home office, but I'm sure some of you are discovering that working from home is not always the most productive, so I come in here to get a lot of my work done. Usually there's something going on. Of course, there's staff meetings every week, which we're doing via Zoom call. But I come into my office. Here's my office, my desk, very neat and tidy, as you can imagine. Here's the preaching calendar. So my work week is very similar to the way it was before and very different at the same time. And what I mean by that is, for example, sermon preparation. That still probably takes up the bulk of my time. I guess I'm a slow thinker, slow processor. I love the process of pulling together sermon thoughts and ideas and illustrations and verses and bringing it together into what I hope is like a cohesive thought process that will be compelling to people of all ages. But it's one thing to think through a live audience where you see a kid squirming in a seat, or you see someone that, maybe on their phone, but it's totally another thing to engage with that in an audience at home, not knowing how people are responding and how people are reacting. Is this landing? Is this not? You just have no idea. And so you mentally have to prepare quite a bit differently. So even though it looks the same, it's just sort of a different approach to all that. Now, on top of sermon preparation, of course, a lot of what a preacher does and a lot of what I do is just kind of organizing our staff. We have our weekly staff meetings and trying to get us all on the same page with communications and content, the daily videos that we've been doing for almost 2 months now, just mapping all of that out so that that's all cohesive and thoughtful and encouraging toward discipleship. And then on top of that, there's just the normal routine stuff that ministers do, counseling and conversations with individuals. Some of those things have to take place via Zoom and FaceTime, and it's just not quite as fun to do it unless when you're not in person, but it's kind of the way it is now. So a lot of my time is on top of the preparation and organization is spent just trying to interact with people and check in on them and see how they're doing. And then on top of all that, we're trying to think through what does it look like when we get back together again, and multiple small services. How do we get one group in and another group out? How do we make sure we sanitize the place in between? What do we do if too many people show up and we can't have more than that many people in a certain room? Do our greeters become like, bouncers? I don't know. In addition to sermon preparation and the organization, the staff, the communications that we do, the daily videos, the reaching out to individuals, the counseling, the conversations that I have during a given week. And then, of course, we have to record the service and get all that organized. And so on Fridays, we have a small crew that comes in and very carefully gets all set up. Thanks, Daryl, Garrett, Corbin has helped out a lot with that. We get all set up right there and get things recorded for Sunday. And then after that, fun stuff is a bunch of editing and pulling that all together and uploading that to YouTube and making sure I don't have too many typos. I've got a very helpful volunteer, thank you, Green, that helps me with all that because I am not the greatest at paying attention to those details. But anyway, so a normal week is very different, very similar in some ways, probably a little bit more work than it was in the past, just because you can't get the routines all figured out. And it just takes a little bit more time to kind of get the normal stuff done because you're all doing it in a different way. So anyway, that's a typical week for me. I hope that was interesting. I know it would be to me, but maybe not to everybody. You're going to hear from the remainder of the staff, and you're also going to hear from Shauna, who works with our urban ministry during the course of this week. But that's just a little bit of insight into what your ministers are up to.